You've given away $15 million in loans to the Green Turtle, Pikesville Pharmacy, as well as the Caves, and $4 million of that being a forgivable.
Wow, that's not a bad deal.
No, it's a great deal, especially when your buddies give it to you.
Ooh. Turn off the recorders. Okay.
So I don't know whether we're right or wrong. I call it legalized corruption. There's a lot of things you learn in the process of running for office.
But it also seems like corporate welfare is what it seems like to me.
I'm not saying this is illegal. Will benefit because their partnerships, which donated heavily to various campaigns, are getting the benefit and reaping the benefit of these conditional loans. With C.A.N, it seems to be the decision maker on who gets these loans. It seems that way, and I'd like to see how that works out.
His name's on the check.
His name's on the check, but his name's on all the checks. Well, 2 years ago, I had the great fortune of offering my services to the county. They decided they didn't want me, at least not immediately. No future plans, though, by the way. I want to make sure that's clear.
I voted for you.
Well, as it turns out, almost 44% of the voters did vote for me, which is not bad for, I think we had about $16,000 in donations. We went up against $1 million in the kitty for the opposition. So what I wanted to really talk to you tonight about is something called conditional loans. I believe, and I have to ask my astute attorney that's over here or over there, when conditional loans were enacted in Baltimore County. I've been told, and I haven't found it yet, during the Dutch Ruppersberger period, that law may have been enacted to allow for conditional loans. Now, some people want to know, what are conditional loans? Well, basically, if you come in with a good idea that's going to bring in jobs, bring in construction work, and bring in money to the county, it's a good idea and could be supported with loans to the developer. The problem has been, in my mind, and hopefully I'll share it with you, it's as far as it goes, conditional loans are good for making projects get started. But if there are links to the donor pool for campaigns, those donors, and they are developers, will end up reaping the benefits of those loans. So I'm going to just have just two examples. I'll give you the big one first. You can't see that one there that's there. Was it a little over 2 years ago.
What's that name?
There's some names on this check. I tried to use this during the campaign, but it takes more than 2 minutes to really get into the rationale behind these loans and what they mean. But what this is talking about is just a little bit before the elections, maybe 6 months before the elections, I believe, or maybe a year, because this was dated Christmas 13, I think. And I didn't research it back then because I just didn't have time at any of the debates to propose this and explain it. But what happened in Towson, as you know, there's a tall building just off the roundabout. It's 12 to 15 stories. And I read 4 separate documents. One said 12, one said 13, one said 14, and one said 15 stories. So I think it has something to do with garage levels, lobby levels, and then a level on the roof for antennas or something. But nevertheless, it's kind of interesting to read all this detail. So what I was trying to point out with this particular loan situation was that the county was able, first of all, the State Department of Business and Economic Development, now Department of Commerce, granted a $2 million loan to this developer, which happened to be Caves Valley Partners, and now I think it's called Towson City Center. LLC. And there are at least 20 Caves Valley entities that are online. You can see how many there are that are involved in this kind of development. The building itself was a sick building, according to many people. A lot of people were getting sick at work. Some people said there might be Legionnaire's disease there. But the bottom line was, again, all the occupants of that building decided it would be better to move their businesses to other locations. And so that building, the investment building, sat empty for 10 years. So the good news was that the county, working with Caves Valley, was able to get money together in the total amount of $2 million plus the county's portion of $5.5 million. Doesn't match up to that number because they didn't use it all. And gave that loan to Caves Valley Partners, or its subsequent name, so they could move forward with a $30 million renovation of that particular building. And the conditional loan says that if you get the right number of jobs, right number of employees, tax base increase in the county, you can have a rebate. That's the conditional loan element. And in this particular case, the county gave $3.5 million back to Caves Valley Partners. Now, I was trying to find the names of the owners of Caves Valley Partners, but the only thing you can find online readily is the resident agent. And it's the same resident agent for all these LLCs that are protecting them against lawsuit.
He's a very busy person.
Yeah, there's like 20 of them, 20 LLCs, most of them with 1 or 2 or 3 resident agents. So this is one thing. It's a good news that the county has the process in place to give money to businesses to help them get started. The bad news is Caves Valley Partners, as I've been told, and I'm not saying this is illegal, will benefit because their partnerships, which donated heavily to various campaigns, are getting the benefit and reaping the benefit of these conditional loans. Just so you know, this was the most egregious of all the loans that was presented to me, and this is the second most egregious loan. I'm not going to come around because I didn't pay much attention because I didn't have time to talk about it. Healthway Pharmacy in Pikesville. They, like Caves Valley with the investment building, wanted to renovate their drugstore. And sure enough, they got a loan and ultimately received, $300,000 rebate on their loan for doing good business. And it did help the economy. The problems were that the owner of that particular pharmacy was also involved in some maneuvering of untaxed cigarettes from Virginia and sending them to New York. I believe there was somebody was indicted on that. And then in researching that further, they also found out that they were importing drugs from Germany and selling them at the pharmacy that were not authorized by the FDA. And then as far as I can tell, the county was in the process of getting ready to withdraw the funds and not give any money back, but they were afraid of the negative press that would arise when the story rolled out. So I'm rolling it out here a little bit today. It's going to take more research. I have a Public Information Act request into the Department of Business and Economic Development, and I called the one county person who knows about conditional loans, and he told me he knows nothing. I know nothing. So
What's his name, Schultz? Dr. Schultz?
it's like Hogan's Heroes. I know nothing. I know nothing. So that's the essence of what I had to say tonight. Conditional loans are now legalized in Baltimore County, and that makes for good news. We get some good opportunities to bring businesses in, raise up the job base, and spend some good money, get some state money into the county, and all this is good. The problem is all these owners have lots of money invested in the politicians. And my campaign platform, if we want to call it that, was just very simple: open, honest, and ethical government. And that's what we need more of. And as C.A.N moves forward, we'd very much like to find a way to get more candidates that would be interested in promoting that concept.